Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. The others were stunned again. Eldest senior brother had the highest rank among the disciples, right? Whose rank could be higher than eldest senior brother? Young Zhenghai picked the scabbard up. He cleaned the dirt off it with his tattered clothes. The veins on the scabbard could now be clearly seen. Zhou understood what was going on and asked, "You called him your senior brother?" Young Zhenghai answered honestly, "He's Yuan'er. He said he'll bring me to my master in Great Yen." Mingxian said indignantly, "Second senior brother has gone overboard. How could he take advantage of the situation like this?" Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng looked around themselves and acted as though they heard nothing. They would certainly make mistakes if they said too much. On the other hand, they would not make mistakes if they kept quiet. Young Zhenghai was confused. Second senior brother? The others addressed him as eldest senior brother even though he was clearly the newest addition. Zhou looked at young Zhenghai, deep in thoughts. According to his current resurrected state, Zhenghai did not seem to have completely lost his memories. His Dantian Sea of Qi was still intact. The cultivation method and his masterful sword techniques could be unleashed instinctively. What intrigued Zhou was, his current state was slightly similar to Conk. The Luo woman, Conk, loss of memories, the awakening of cultivation base. Everything seemed connected. Zhou had already thought about this when he saw Zhenghai. The more he thought about it, the more he found it made sense. Could the Luo woman also be a Wuqian and was resurrected as Conk? No. The individual's lifespan would shorten every time he or she was resurrected. Zhou had examined Conk's body repeatedly. If she had been reborn, she would not possess such rich vitality. If she was not reincarnated, then, what was it? The notebook said the red lotus would not limit one's longevity. In other words, did people with red lotuses have longer lives? He looked at Conk's naive and pure appearance. He could hardly connect her to the Luo woman from 300 years ago. However, the awakening state Conk displayed and Zhenghai's condition clearly showed that it was possible. Was Conk the Luo woman? In the end, Zhou shook his head and dismissed these thoughts. His priority at the moment was to find Yuan'er. If it were not for Bayan, they would not have been able to find this place even after a decade. At this moment, almost none of the others from the Evil Sky Pavilion could reconcile young Zhenghai in his tattered robes to the majestic Zhenghai they knew. "Where's Yuan'er?" Zhou asked. Young Zhenghai pointed in the direction of the 100,000-foot deep abyss and said, "He fell into the abyss to save me." The others were quiet. They could hardly believe this. Young Zhenghai began to recount what had happened to Zhou. The others were shocked. Lu Lan has the ambition of wolves. It's no wonder Mr. Second hasn't returned even until now. The Grand Shaman ambushed him, Pan Litian said. Grand Shamans are able to invite deities and set up formations. There are only a handful of individuals capable of becoming a Grand Shaman in Lu Lan. Lu Lan is certainly desperate to exchange the lives of that many shamans for Mr. Second. Mingxian said, "I don't believe second senior brother is dead. Master. I'll go and search for him." As soon as he finished speaking, he turned around, preparing to make his way to the abyss. Zhou said, "Wait." Mingxian stopped moving, puzzled. Zhou said, "Zhenghai has just been resurrected. His state is unstable. All of you will stay here. I'll go and take a look." "Master." His disciples bowed. "Master, you mustn't. The prospect of surviving that 100,000-foot deep abyss is extremely low," Si Wuya said. "I volunteer to go down there to bring second senior brother back." "I'll go." "Your cultivation base is too weak," Duanmu Sheng said. "Stop arguing. My cultivation base is the most profound among us at the moment. I should go." Mingxian stepped forward. Pan Lydian smiled and said, "All of you are still young. Why should you go? I'm a bag of old bones. I'll go. Enough. Zhou raised a hand and interrupted their argument. Everyone fell silent and looked at Zhou in confusion. Zhou looked at young Zhenghai next to him and said, "Do as I say." Understood. The others no longer dared to object. At the periphery of the 100,000-foot deep abyss. If one were to peer over the edge, nothing else but endless darkness could be seen. The disciples were all shocked by this sight. Little Yuan and Kong could not bear to look at it and quickly averted their eyes. See, Wuya said, "This abyss is half as long as heaven's moat." Many cultivators with an appetite for adventure had tried to see how deep this abyss was in the past. Unfortunately, none of them made it back. This abyss is too peculiar. Is it more peculiar than the four forests? Even junior sister Tianxin managed to return from the depths of Misty Forest. We should believe in Master, Duan Shang said. You're right. Everyone said that going too deep into the four forests will only spell death. Now, those with a profound cultivation base could go in and bring a mount or two back with them, Ming Shirin said with a smile. Pan Litian remembered his own experience in Blackwood Forest. He said with a sigh, "It's strange, now that I think of it. The cultivation bases of humans have always been improving and progressing. Humans are exploring and conquering many previously unknown territories. The southernmost part of Heaven's Moat was once called the highest point of the world 800 years ago, and nobody could reach it. Yet, many had conquered it throughout the years." The others nodded in agreement to his words. Curiosity and exploration were natural for humans. Zhou recalled what the Lua woman wrote in her notebook. Perhaps, she had come here to explore as well. However, Great Yan's imperial tutor was the exact opposite. He longed for peace and sought a comfortable life. Yu Shangrong is my disciple, after all. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse, Zhou said as he stepped into the air above the abyss. His disciples bowed in unison. We'll wait for you here, Master. We'll be waiting for you, Pavilion Master. Zhou swept his gaze across the Evil Sky Pavilion disciples and members before he nodded. Then, he descended slowly into the abyss. The members of the Evil Sky Pavilion watched as he descended. It did not take long before his figure was swallowed by the darkness. Zhou maintained the speed of descent. When he looked up, he could still see the light from the sky. After a while, he increased the speed of his descent. The wind roared in his ears, and he activated his protective energy. He kept descending and would look up every so often. The sky was growing smaller and smaller, and the light was growing dimmer and dimmer. Is this abyss truly bottomless? Zhou did not believe this, he continued descending. After some time, Zhou suddenly felt a pulling force. A suction force. Zhou felt his body grow heavier. It was as though some energy was pulling him from below, causing him to expend more and more primal chi as well. With Yu Shangrong's cultivation base, even if he falls into the depth of the abyss, he couldn't have died. Zhou slowed his descent. The lower he descended, the stronger the pulling force became. There was a simple principle behind this. When he sank to the point where the pulling force was greater than his strength, that would be the point of no return. Where was Yu Shangrong? When it got a little too dark, Zhou finally stopped descending. He regretted his decision slightly. He had forgotten to replenish his extraordinary power. After his battle with Carol, he was now left with only half of his extraordinary power. On top of that, his cultivation base was only at the 6-leaf stage. If he encountered something much more powerful than himself, would he not be in grave danger? He decided to check his merit points to boost his own confidence. Merit points, 8,103. This was bad. A deadly strike card cost 10,000 merit points. It was too expensive. After checking his points, Zhou felt more flustered than he had ever been. If he had known he would feel this way, he would not have checked his points. Zhou continued to descend after closing the interface. Meanwhile, the Evil Sky Pavilion disciples and elders waited next to the abyss. They could not help but feel slightly anxious when Zhou did not return even after a long time had passed. Si Wuya said, judging by this depth, I don't think that he'll be back anytime soon. We should stay in Guluo village for the time being. The others nodded. No. Zhenghai shook his head. Perhaps, he loathed the very mention of Guluo village, he had reacted strongly as soon as he heard the village's name. Si Wuya said at once, eldest senior brother, let's set up our tents around here, then. All right. Zhenghai nodded. The others understood that they should not mention Guluo village again. Mingxirin walked over and said, eldest senior brother. I'll carry your saber for you. This way, please. Zhenghai had trouble getting used to this. Although the others felt awkward, this young man was undoubtedly the Evil Sky Pavilion's first disciple. With the confirmation from the pavilion master and Si Wuya confirming it, there was no way it was wrong. Mingxirin was the only one who acted naturally. Eldest senior brother, have a seat. I've wiped it down. I hope you don't mind, Mingxirin said in an ingratiating tone. Duanmu Sheng rolled his eyes. He walked up to Mingxirin and said, Old Fourth, you're hopeless. Flattery won't raise your cultivation base. Mingxirin retreated with a sheepish expression on his face. Duanmu Sheng produced his water skin and presented it to young Zhenghai as he said, this is water from a well in Great Yen. It's sweet and refreshing. Young Zhenghai was slightly stunned. He looked at the water skin and seemed to be filled with emotion. Mingxirin. Zhenghai received the water skin. Thank you. The others were dumbfounded. They had never seen Zhenghai thank anyone before. Although his appearance had changed, the changes in his attitude were much more shocking. Eldest senior brother. Little Yuan skipped over to young Zhenghai. Young Zhenghai asked awkwardly, You are? I'm the former little junior sister and the current 9th junior sister. This is Conk, Master's latest disciple. Although you don't remember me, I remember you. Thank you for the cloud-treading boots. Little Yuan said in one breath. Young Zhenghai scratched his head. He was even more confused than before. He had no recollections of the things little Yuan mentioned. When Si Wuya saw this, he stepped forward and began to explain to young Zhenghai. He started from Zhenghai's identity, how he joined the Evil Sky Pavilion as a disciple, founded the Nether Sect, conquered the 9 provinces, and eventually claimed the divine capital. Zhenghai was greatly shocked by this. He could not believe it at all. Everyone knew that it was difficult to accept such facts. Hence, they dared not disturb him. They left him alone to give him time to digest all these things. The next morning. When the sun rose in the east, the others went to the edge of the abyss to have long. And yet, there was no sign of their master. Meanwhile, Zhou was still descending. He did not increase his speed and maintained the same speed. Currently, darkness surrounded him on all sides. Can I really not reach the bottom of the abyss? Zhou had trouble believing this. As he descended, the pulling force intensified as well. In an attempt to find Yushangrong, he would launch a palm seal at fixed intervals. The shining golden palm seal was like a lantern at night that illuminated the surroundings. When Zhou felt that he had gone far enough, he launched another palm seal. The shining golden palm seal was quickly swallowed by the darkness. Zhou discovered the palm seal did not hit the abyss's rock walls like the previous ones. The bottom is hollow? He stopped and kept himself afloat by condensing his primal chi into energy. The pulling force from below had intensified considerably, so he had to spend even more primal chi. However, it was still manageable. Zhou raised his palm that glowed with a golden light. The areas a few meters around him lit up. He discovered there was nothing around him. Everything about his surroundings made him feel cold despite the temperature. This time, he launched a palm seal down. Soon enough, a crisp sound rang in the air, surprising Zhou. I'm near the bottom? He decided to descend. After a while, he raised his hand, holding a golden sphere that looked like a miniature sun. When he looked down, he could hardly believe the sight that greeted his eyes. There was a boundless sea beneath him. He could not see an end to it. What shocked him further was that the water was black. Black water? It looked like a new world down here. Zhou hovered above the black water. He did not dare to recklessly touch the black water. He continued to observe his surroundings with the help of his glowing golden sphere. After a while, he discovered that he had drifted to another place even though he did not move. Due to how dark it was and not having a point of reference, he did not notice at all. Zhou frowned slightly. No wonder he could not find Yu Shangrong. With this, it would be much more difficult to find Yu Shangrong. The black water was so calm that it seemed like a glass pane. Zhou flew backward and saw a reef. He landed on it and began to replenish his primal chi. At the same time, he kept himself alert to any minute changes in his surroundings. He suddenly recalled his power of hearing, and an idea formed in his mind. To gain the power to hear everything so that we can hear voices in all realms at will. His ear glowed with faint blue light, and he felt the range of hearing widened. There were no movements or sounds. Soon after, swoosh! A red fish had leaped out of the water in front of him. It was a glowing red fish. Zhou struck with his palm. Fiend Monk's hand seal. The shining blue hand seal sailed toward the red fish. Bam! The Fiend Monk's hand seal grabbed the red fish. A fish capable of producing red energy? This had exceeded the bounds of Zhou's understanding. He raised the red fish and noticed it had an exceptionally stubborn will to live. It was 100 times more stubborn than any fish he had ever seen. The red fish struggled to break free of his clutches to return to the black water. You livestock, thinking of going back? He raised his palm and struck. Bam! Perhaps, his force was too strong. A soft noise rang in the air as the red fish spat out a red ring of light. Zhou retracted his palm. The ruby item fell into his palm. Ding! Obtained red fish heart X1. Red fish heart. Provides 100 years of life. Really? He obtained 100 years of life with a casual swipe of his hand. Zhou was shocked. He looked at the red fish's corpse and the red fish heart. Let's put it away for now. He wrapped it up and started replenishing his primal chi. The primal chi here was exceptionally dense. He recovered at an exceptional rate. At the same time, Zhou stayed a while longer on the reef to replenish his extraordinary power. Without any point of reference, he could only gauge the passage of time with his senses. After what seemed like hours, Zhou started hearing the sound of waves. When he looked at the spot where the red fish had appeared earlier, he saw the black water surged into a towering wave. What's this? Splash! Zhou gauged his extraordinary power. He noticed that it was nearly full. He no longer dallied. He leaped up and dodged the wave of black water as soon as it dropped. Up and rose. Then, he saw an extremely huge red fish emerging from the black water. Due to the black water, its glow was not very prominent. However, as soon as it broke the surface of the water, a red light burst forth. Zhou could sense the hostility from the red fish. Its huge eye rolled around, scanning its surroundings, before it found him. Zhou did not think he should stay here for long. He launched a palm seal down and broke free of the pulling force. It leaped out of the water, raising its head before opening its jaws. It was clear it intended to devour Zhou. Although it had leaped lightly into the air, the waves it stirred up reached a tremendous height. Livestock. Zhou aimed his palm that was shining with a faint blue light down. The scripts of abandoned wisdom appeared between his fingers, and a palm seal that was larger than usual appeared under his feet. Then, he pressed down.